earlier. 14 seconds. And that will be all she wrote as Brind'Amour gives it one more try. The shot is blocked. Richter kicked it out. 4 seconds left. Down it goes. And the series comes to a close. Team USA pouring onto the ice to smother Mike Richter. Something Canada couldn't do tonight. Outshooting the USA 32-14 over the first 2 periods. Well, that was a goaltending spectacle by Mike Richter.
Well, part of a good goalie's job is to keep a team alive until they get things going. And that was exactly the definition of Mike Richter. A bitter disappointment for Team Canada and Canadian hockey fans from coast to coast. We all knew the Americans were coming as far as being a competitive team when you put the best players from both countries on one team. And this is a gigantic boost for hockey in the United States, as was the 1980 and the 1960 Olympic wins. But these are the best players in the National Hockey League from north and south of the border, and gave us a tremendous 3-game series. And Canada faltered at the end, and the States have won the first World Cup.
The final shots were 37-25, so that'll tell you how the USA came on. And they really didn't start to come on that strong until Adam Foote got that goal at 12:50. They just completely dominated face-off after face-off inside the Canadian blue line, and Team Canada were just not allowed to get anything going with a great forechecking of Team USA.
Even strength goals was the offensive weakness for Canada. They scored plenty on the power play. They got 11 goals in this series on the power play. But at even strength, they could not muster the offense that they could on the power play. And, you know, it wasn't a penalty-filled tournament. You have to score 5-on-5. And with Canada's lineup, who would have ever thought that would be their biggest problem?
Ron Wilson, fine USA coach. You know he is now on top of the world. Done a great job.
Yes, he has, as both coaching staffs have. It's not easy to put a group of superstars together in a short time and have them play like a team. The Americans did it right out of the gate. The Canadians took a little while to get going. Ron told me this afternoon when I met him up for a walk, he said his dad, Larry, a former NHLer who's now dead, would be watching this game from far above the forum, and his uncle, Johnny, who also coached in the National League and coached Team Canada in a World Championship, came in here to share this moment with Ron Wilson and the American team.
You wonder if you'll see these two together again in international hockey. Coffee and Gretzky.
Well, when you look ahead to the Olympics, and this was supposed to be the preview of the '98 Olympics, the American team have a much younger core group than the Canadian team does. So a year and a half from now, Canada has their work cut out for them to come up with an Olympic team that can capture the gold. They've never been allowed to send their best professionals to the Olympics. They can in Japan in '98.
And now here's Ron MacLean.
There's Mike Richter and Chris Chelios. Mike, sensational. Chris, you two, give us your thoughts.
Well, it was a funny game. I thought it took the play to them the first period. They took it to us the second. But I was surprised how hard we came out in the third. I thought we were a little tired in the locker room, but we seemed to regain our energy and did what we had to do to win. That was a fun game to play.
Sure was. Chris?
Well, anytime we could beat Canada, you know, we beat them 2 games in Montreal. It says a lot for our character. It's a great series. Either team could have won. I think they outplayed us most of the game, but we came back, scored when we had to, and I hope everybody's happy. It was a great series.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
There it is. That's the replica that the players will receive for winning. That's the big prize.
The MVP
World Cup of Hockey.
Following a vote among a panel of writers who have covered
these pieces of art you just saw were created by Edmonton artist Janet Mozak. MVP will be motoring out of here tonight. I think he's earned a motoring job, don't you?
The MVP
we know who that is.
des États-Unis from the United States, Mike Richter.
I guess so. Mike Richter. Start her up, Mike. What a goaltending performance this fine young man turned in this series, and more especially tonight with all the pressure. There he is.
In the second period, Bob, I mean, he put a display on that few goalies playing at this level have ever been able to do, especially against an awfully good Team Canada. But when you're a Stanley Cup winning goalie, you've done it before, and Mike has. If I was Neil Smith and Coley Campbell, I wouldn't let him on that motorcycle till he's retired from hockey, would you?
That's not a bad thought. But you know, he's a sporting type of guy. This is probably right up his alley.
And there are the players, some of the players that didn't play. Tkachuk stayed in his uniform. He was thrown out of the game. And the Americans, like the Canadians, had 4 or 5 guys that were the Black Aces, you know, practicing every day but not playing much.
Once again, here's Ron.
2 big goals again, Brett, tonight. Just a beautiful effort for you and your mates. I know coming into Canada wasn't easy for you. Just tell us how you feel about coming and achieving the big win.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guy who just took the motorcycle home, he won that game for us. You know, we came out, we played well, but Canada just blitzed us, and they took control for the first 2 periods. And if it wasn't for Mike, we weren't in the game at all. And you know, we got to tip our hats to Mikey, and you know, we got 2 late goals. And that's, you know, sometimes that's the way the game goes, and we're fortunate, but you know what, we'll take it.
Nobody in Canada wants to hear it, but it's good for hockey that you played so well and achieved this result.
Well, it is, you know, we got 2 fantastic hockey teams, and you know, like you said, it's great for hockey, it's great for the game, and you know, hopefully all the other ones down the road will be just as exciting.
I'll go see what that World Cup looks like. Congrats.
So thank you.
Ron, Brett mentioned the word great a few times there. Well, here's a great one now. 2 great ones. The young, Brian Leetch, and the, well, not so young and not so old, the great Jean Beliveau. And the World Cup of Hockey will be presented to the captain of Team USA, Brian Leetch.
And as Canadians, lovers of this great game, let us from coast to coast congratulate for the American team. Every single Canadian player stayed to make sure the Americans got the respect they deserved by winning it. You can say it was a lucky game, but you got to win them. They did. Let's admit it. We've shared this great games with other countries. It's a bitter pill when they walk in and beat us.
And let us also thank all the players, and if I may, especially the players on both teams, for giving hockey fans in this great country such a great show in this final series.
And how about the coaching staff, Bob? Available at any time to talk to you, give you information. We lived in Team Canada's dressing room. You could walk into the American room at any time, and that isn't always the case when you get the superstars in any sport. But hockey again proves these guys are a little different and a little better.
It's never easy to lose. It's always terrific to win. And that's how cruel sport can be. There's got to be a loser when you have this, a winner. The Team USA, the first winners of the World Cup of Hockey. Ron Wilson, a successful coach.
You think Ron Wilson will have a little trouble? He flies to LA tomorrow, gets in at 2 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock, the LA Kings play the Anaheim Mighty Ducks in an exhibition game. Take the day off, Ron, you deserve it.
Mr. Sather will not be taking the day off tomorrow. He won't be as happy as he wanted to be, but a word to Hazel, Glenn Sather's mom. He's flying home tomorrow, Mom, to wish you happy birthday personally. She'll be 90 tomorrow.
And you know, this tournament in Montreal, where we've been for the last 4 days, I saw the parents of many of the players, the grandparents, the brothers, the sisters, the friends. It must remind some of these players, although the skill level's a little different, of the minor hockey tournaments they went to when they were kids playing Canadian teams It was a social outing for the parents who did everything to get them there. And this was just another tournament between the Americans and Canadians. And unfortunately for the Canadians, they lost it.
Huge crowds at this beautiful new Molson Center in Montreal, finding their way to the exits. The majority, of course, downcast, but not this group for the impromptu team picture. These have become very, very famous. And here's the latest, folks. Team USA, the winners of the World Cup. That'll be on every paper in America as we speak. 2 goals for Brett Hull. He hasn't played a better series for a long time.
No, he hasn't. How about LeClaire? You go down the lineup of both teams. Boy, the effort these guys gave for the kind of money that they're not making here in this tournament tells you that they love the game and they were willing to put everything on the line to see if they could win it for their country.
We will take you into the USA dressing room the moment we are permitted to, but this is not a bad move. Coach Ron Wilson asked the media and us if they could spend 5 minutes together to celebrate. Lou Lamoriello, the general manager, and you know, he's another one of the happy guys in this building tonight.
Pretty good career the last 2 years. Won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago and the first World Cup this year. Jack Ferreira, one of the assistant general managers. And of course the coaching staff is Jack Ferreira right there. He's the manager of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Striking picture at center ice on the presentation of the World Cup. One gentleman of hockey, Jean Beliveau, the great one of the Montreal Canadiens, and Brian Leetch, another fine gentleman, the captain of this successful USA team. This is over as far as the game is concerned, but we'll be back with more. USA wins it.